Oh, it stinks. What is that? Oh, it's the audio in this video. My apologies. The mic wasn't connected well, but the rest of the video is fantastic. Thanks for watching. Go ahead and check it out.
What a week of drone racing it has been. 3 days in a row, back to back levels. It is rare that we get this much drone racing all packed together. In this episode, we're going to break down Level 3 Alpine Valley. I'm your host, Jordan Kyle, and this is Mad Props. The point system is a little bit different for sim races. Sim races have half the weight of an IRL race in the overall season points for each pilot. In semifinal Group 1, we had Maverick, MCK, Halo Walker, Seba, Hyper, and Gab 707. Gab has had a tough series of events this season. I mentioned in my last video, but before this year, Gab had never missed an IRL finals. A streak that will probably not be broken by another racer for a very long time. But unfortunately, this year in Level 2, his streak came to an end. Also this week, tragically, Gab tested positive for COVID-19. Luckily, all 3 races this week were sim races, and he could still participate in the race. However, this had an extreme effect on his performance here in Level 3. But since the sim races are worth only half an IRL race, there's still a chance for Gab to come back from this deficit. But ultimately, I'm just hoping he heals up quickly. I'm sure all 3 races were pretty miserable for him. Sending up some prayers for you, Gab.
Heat 1, Semifinals 1.
In Heat 1, Sim Tournament winner Maverick came out the gate letting people know that they were on his home turf now. He led the pack for most of the race. It was tight between Maverick, MCK, and Halo Walker. In the end, Halo squeezed one by Maverick, and in the final seconds, he won by less than 0.08 of a second. Halo ended the heat by saying he didn't breathe the entire race, and that his heart was also racing just as fast.
Heat 2, Semifinals 1.
Heat 2 begins, and everyone is clumped right together. Clumping is way more common in the sim races than it is in the IRL race because there are no mid-airs in the sim. A mid-air is when 2 drones have a collision in the middle of the race, usually causing prop damage and sometimes a DNF for one or both of the pilots involved. However, in the sim, you still can crash, and this year, they even added damage to the drones so that you can have light crashes and still race. But the speed will be affected by damaged props just like it would in real life. Similar to the previous race, MCK, Maverick, and Halo led the pack. Again, it came down to the final turn, and MCK got the dub. Maverick was so close in both races, but in a semifinal heat, close does not get you very far. You need to get first place in a semifinal heat to move on to the finals. So if Maverick was going to make it to the finals, he needed to have his best lap yet in the 3rd heat.
Heat 3, Semifinals 1.
Just like the last 2 heats, Heat 3 began with Mav with a slight lead, but there was some serious carnage in this race. MCK took damage, Halo Walker took damage, Maverick took damage, and Seba took major damage. So if there was a chance for Gab or Hyper to come back, it was now. Gab just couldn't keep up, and Hyper took full advantage, earning himself a spot in finals. So much hype around Maverick at the start of the level, and I know he's a great competitor, but unfortunately, he was not going to see his first podium here in Level 3. Semifinals Group 2 consisted of Pavalos, Amari, Alex, Killian, Vanover, and Singyu. Similar to Maverick, Amari was the 2021 DRL Sim Tournament champion. Amari had come alive near the end of last season, but had been struggling to find traction this year. So we were hoping to see some competition from him.
Heat 1, Semifinals 2.
Heat 1, Amari showed that he came to play. Vanover, Alex, and Amari were often so close last year when they were leading the pack that they got the nickname the Flying V when it was just the 3 of them in the front.
Nope, I'm actually going to stop you right there, Jordan. The Flying V consisted of Amari, Alex FPV and Heads Up, not Vanover. Also, they made these sick t-shirts. I need to cop one of these. If anyone knows where I can get one, let me know. But anyway, back to the video.
Them being in front in this heat, it was good to see the boys back in formation once again. Just like Maverick though, Amari ends his first heat in second place. Alex FPV taking first, moving him right along into the finals.
Heat 2, Semifinals 2.
Group 2, Heat 2 of the semifinals was more of that clumping, so it was a tight race with Alex in front for most of the race. But right around the last two turns, Pavelos has a clutch moment and passes Alex to win the heat.
Heat 3, Semifinals 2.
Vanover going into Heat 3 knew that it was time for him to come alive. Many of these racers have learned to race by studying Vanover, so it is clear that he has what it takes, but he just needed to find the perfect line. Unfortunately for Amari, he had some damage taken early on and was not going to make it into the finals. Soon afterwards, Vanover also took damage. Yet again, similar to semifinals Group 1, the last heat was a bloodbath. Every pilot made a mistake except Singyu, so there was no need for a sudden death. As Craig mentioned in the broadcast, Spain is unfortunately no longer in the World Cup. After Morocco shocked us all on December 6th with an overtime penalty shootout to beat Spain in the World Cup, Spain needs a hero. May I suggest to the Spaniards out there, Singyu could be that hero. It was time for Singyu to show up in these finals. So these finals consisted of Halo Walker, MCK, Hyper, Alex FPV, Pavelos, and Singyu.
Heat 1, Finals.
Heat 1 begins, and it is tight for every single pilot. Near the beginning of lap 2, it seemed like Alex had a slight lead, but he had to push because 5 of the 6 pilots were within 0.7 seconds of each other going into the finish line. But he kept pressure on and ended up winning Heat 1. So we're going to see Alex in the Golden Heat.
Heat 2, Finals.
It's a good thing Alex won Heat 1 because he begins Heat 2 with some early drone damage. By the end of the race, everyone had drone damage except MCK and Pavelos. And MCK in purple got the win over Pavelos.
Heat 3, Finals.
Heat 3 was interesting. Alex was flying really well because even though he took damage, he was still ahead of most of the pack. But that prop damage slows you down just enough that Alex just couldn't keep up with MCK. At this point, Alex is in second, but Pavelos knew that a second place would get him into the Golden Heat after he got second place in Heat 2. So in the final straightaway, Alex's drone damage slows him down just enough to let Pavelos squeak by and sneak into second place by 3/100ths of a second, bringing now Pavelos to join MCK and Alex into the Golden Heat.
Heat 4, Finals.
Heat 4 begins, and Alex sees that the Golden Heat was already getting crowded, and he wanted to keep as many out of the heat as possible. At this point, it was clear that the top 4 racers were Alex, MCK, Pavelos, and Halo Walker. 3 of them had made it into the Golden Heat already, but Halo hadn't been able to make it into first or even second place yet. Sadly for him, lap 2 wasn't his best, and this was not going to be the heat for him yet. Alex had the lead until inches from the finish line, where MCK had the momentum to pull through and beat Alex just barely.
Heat 5, Finals.
Heat 5, Alex crashes and is out of the running early, giving Halo a better chance to win. MCK and Pavelos are still gatekeeping at this point, trying to keep Halo out of the Golden Heat. Around the final turn, it was going back and forth for second place, but Halo again just couldn't quite get it. MCK got first, and Pavelos got another second place. At this point, it's a mental game. MCK, Alex, and Pavelos are taking up some serious real estate in Halo's head. MCK had now won 4 heats in a row, and Halo Walker was going to need a miracle to get to the Golden Heat.
Heat 6, Finals.
Just like before, Halo flies lap 1 like we know he can, and is right there in front at the beginning of lap 2. But the heat was on. It was anyone's race, and I would love to sit here and tell you this amazing comeback story for one of the world's greatest racers who beat all the odds and came back to win Heat 6 of the finals, but the mental games were too strong. Halo knew he had to push himself, and he pushed himself to the limit. The second to the last obstacle of the race, he takes damage and ends the race in 5th place, leaving MCK with his 5th win in a row.
Golden Heat. Winner takes all.
Moving on to the Golden Heat, we had MCK, who was a clear powerhouse on this map. Alex FPV with an early win, and Pavelos, who despite not getting any first places, was consistently right behind MCK for most of the heats in the finals. MCK is notorious for getting nervous when it is time to shine. Alex, being the only veteran of the three, he knows how to handle pressure better than the two rookies. Alex has the lead for almost the entire race, and then right near the end, Pavelos sticks his nose out for a second before Alex takes it right back in the split S. The experience shows itself, and Alex FPV takes home the win for Level 3 Alpine Valley. This is his 2nd level win of the season. Props to Alex for keeping his cool and adding a nice 12 points to his season score. This moved him from 4th place in the league all the way up to 2nd place, passing MCK and Vanover. This also got Pavelos into the top 5 in the league with 21 points. He's got a long way to go, though, to catch up to the front of the pack. Halo Walker has 51 points in 1st, Alex FPV has 40, MCK has 38, and Vanover has 37 points on the season. So on the season, Halo Walker has a decent lead on the crew, but there's a lot of meat on that bone still. It's anyone's game, and I cannot wait to see what happens next. With 3 levels in 3 days, I have my hands full with content at the moment. I already have a few episodes scripted and even some filmed with my thoughts on where the players are at and where the league is going. So there will be plenty of episodes to come with more opinions. Right now, I only have time to recap the races themselves. Levels 3, 4, and 5 were all 2-hour events, so I'm hoping that these condensed versions are helpful to you. These episodes are broadcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast platforms. So if you want to be here for those videos and podcasts coming soon, feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow me on podcast apps. I'm hoping to have the Level 4 video out tomorrow, so we'll see you then. Thanks for watching. This is Jordan Kyle, signing off.